didn't walk on the moon?
I don't think we did. I think it was fake.
Kim.
No gravity on the moon.
Yes, there is. There's just less gravity than Earth. That's why the astronauts didn't float away.
Why is the flag blowing?
It's not. There's no wind on the moon. Let's take a look right here. That's a bar. It's actually holding up the flag to overcome the lack of wind. And sometimes that didn't work. Here's the flag on Apollo 12 that wouldn't stay up because it had a failed latch mechanism. But these are nylon flags, which have been folded up and stored for a very long time, which is why they're wrinkly. Neil Armstrong had to spin it, right? Imagine putting a stake into the ground. You'd have to spin it to dig it in. So the flag starts swinging, but does it stop swinging? No. Not right away, because an object in motion will stay in motion until it's acted upon by something like air. But the moon doesn't really have an atmosphere, so there aren't many particles right here to slow down the swinging of the flag. It did thankfully stop swinging eventually because there are some particles that close to the moon.
Shoes that they have in the museum that they wore on the moon is a different print in the photos.
Here's the spacesuit that they wore on the moon, and here is the boot, and that doesn't match this boot print. But wait. What's that? They're boot covers, lunar overshoes that they wore on the moon, and they are in every photo of astronauts on the moon.
Why are there no stars?
They saw stars sometimes and not other times. When they orbited on the far side of the moon and the moon blocked the sun, they saw a lot of stars. They landed facing the sun, which is why it's so bright in all of the photos. But if they stood in the shade of their lunar lander and let their eyes adjust, then they could see some stars. This was taken from an ultraviolet camera standing in the shade of the lunar lander and pointed up. But the lunar surface is also very bright, so capturing the brightness of the lunar surface and faint stars in the background isn't really possible with like one exposure. Here's the overexposed Earth with some stars in the background from the moon.
This girl says, "What was the scariest moment?" And he goes, "There was no scary moment because it didn't happen. It could have been scary, but it wasn't because it didn't happen."
So that is a cropped video, but I will show you the whole thing.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary. Circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker. And then he goes into a 6-minute, very long story about how when they were on the moon, he found a circuit breaker that wasn't attached where it was supposed to be. And if they didn't reattach it right, they wouldn't have been able to get off the moon. So he's talking about how they mitigated this almost very scary incident. There's the whole video. You can see it. I fast forwarded it. It's 6 minutes long. It would have been scary to be stuck on the moon, but it wasn't scary because it didn't happen. Could he have worded it better? Yeah.
Like, go to TikTok. See for yourself.
I agree you should go to TikTok, but I think you should go to my debunking playlist instead.